So now that we have cut and reamed out the conduit to make it nice and smooth, we do have to put some threads on the end of this conduit. With rigid conduit, it's not really useful to us until we put some threads on the end. So I have that little bit of cutting oil at the end, and the bucket is right underneath, so I didn't spill any. And you're going to take that threader there, so it is already preset for 1/2 inch. And when you turn that little knob, it's basically changing the way it will ratchet one way or another. So make sure it's ratcheting the right way. You may have to flip it around to get it going the right way. And you're going to apply a fairly even pressure to the end until it starts to bite. And at that point, once it bites, it's on there. Start applying some oil to the conduit itself to get it going. And as you go, it will start building up chips. So keep applying the oil every 360 degrees of cutting. Now, if it starts to get really difficult, like it is for me here, I eventually, what I do is I change that knob on the end and I back it off. Another thing that can happen, which I think you'll see, is the pipe itself moves a little bit and I'm readjusting, I'm tightening it up just a little bit more. But what that is basically the chips are getting kind of bound up in the end there. So what I do is I change the cutter around so it ratchets the other way. I back it off to undo some of the chips. So I'm just making sure that's nice and tight. And I'm going to back off that cutter just to get rid of some of those chips that have fallen and are kind of bound up in the end. Once I've loosened it off, I should be ready to go and I can continue around going forward again. And it is much easier now. Um, so you can see kind of the chips are falling out. Make sure you're using lots of oil, just like I'm doing here, multiple sides. Make sure you're getting the actual conduit and the thread and the cutters, the cutting ends of that the cutter itself. And you'll eventually get to the point where you're basically done and you'll be able to back off everything all the way. And it will get to a point where you can just spin that because you've already created the threads. It's nice and smooth at that point. So you can just back it off with your hand. Again, this one is very good for gloves. You can see me wearing them there. My hands were covered in oil at the end of this. So you'll be able to remove the chips. Make sure you remove the chips from the end of the cutter itself into the bucket, what I did there, and you are ready to go.